Hello, fellow Factorians, and welcome back to my Pyanodons challenge run. During the last episode, I set up a mall, which works-ish. I've got one mistake that I need to fix inside of it, but the biggest problem is that I'm not getting enough aluminum, which means not enough duralumin, which means not enough intermetallics, so it's kind of stalled out. Which I kind of expected, although not quite to this degree. And I've queued up an improved aluminum processing recipe, so I'm going to tackle that next episode after it finishes. This one is going to be dedicated to an improved iron processing recipe. In this case, it's not a recipe I love. Instead, it's going to be there as a stopgap to make sure that I can void the oxygen to make hydrogen for Relesia. Yeah, things are getting complicated, and they're just going to get more so as the time goes on. During the hands-off period, science went fine. Bricks came back to level. I didn't have that flashing warning too much anymore. And also, I just planned out what I'm doing with this iron build and watched the timer tick by. Hopefully my sound is a little better this time too. I've adjusted my mic settings and things look better, but we'll see. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I'm going to jump into this iron processing build. It should be a much more chill setup than the complicated mall stuff I was doing last time. So we'll see how that goes along. See you there. Let's get to building. First, hands-on mode. Then I make one combinator. One missing combinator was messing my mall up. This one right here. This is the combinator that tells the mall what I need to keep on the belts as intermediate products. So yeah, obviously that was kind of a problem, and now more of the mall is activating. But not much of it because my caravans are still jammed up over here, waiting for intermetallics that are not being made. And they're not being made because I don't have enough aluminum coming in, and all my duralumin is also being filtered into the mall. So yeah, this outpost not full of duralumin. So to make sure that I do get some intermetallics made, I'm just going to force some in from a chest. Maybe we'll take half of this buffer away and put it into making intermetallics. Oh yeah, there we go. That'll get drained out and at least keep my intermetallics flowing. But that means I'm going to be handcrafting things for this episode as well. I'm going to be setting up a build down here to process iron. Let me handcraft some stuff, and then I'll get back to you once I've get down there building. So the key product that I want out of this iron processing build is not actually the iron. I want hydrogen. I need to be able to feed my Relesias a consistent amount of hydrogen, and the antimony oxide, which is currently where I get my hydrogen because I'm electrolyzing the water to get oxygen for those basic oxygen furnaces, doesn't run that consistently. So I need to set up something where, I have a consistent way to make oxygen and hydrogen and void the oxygen, and iron processing is the way to do that. And of course, iron is a very, very nice byproduct to have in this case, so I'm not going to complain about that. Anyway, so you set up some electrolyzers. This is going to make the oxygen and hydrogen, as I mentioned. You pass that into a basic oxygen furnace along with processed iron, which we get from jaw crushing iron ore, and borax, which I'm going to set a caravan to bring down here. And you get molten iron. And then the molten iron you can put in a pipe and you cast it someplace else. And that's what I'm going to be doing with it. So I'm going to set up this system first and then go deal with the molten iron that I need elsewhere. Also, I don't love this recipe. I'm not going to use it everywhere, primarily because it takes a lot of extra ingredients. Like you have to have the borax, which has to be washed. You have to have a lot of coal to feed these hungry basic oxygen furnaces, and it takes a lot of power. For the roughly 10 plates per second, that I'll be generating out of this, it's almost 100 megawatts. And I don't have an extra 100 megawatts lying around all the time. So I'm going to be gating the production of this right now by checking my radar network to see if I have enough steam in my geothermal tanks, which is basically my new wind sensor, which says, hey, you've got spare power, you can spend it on something else. So yeah, that's how we're going to manage that. I'm going to finish setting this up. It's a tight little build because, like I said, I'm not going to try and scale this up to make more iron. Another reason not to do that is because as soon as I hit logistics science, there is a much better iron processing recipe just after you hit the tech, so I'm going to be using that one at scale for real. All right, this should start working as soon as I get coal coming in here, and also I need to caravan in some borax. I also need to deal with the stone byproduct that this generates. Stone is always going to be tricky, partially because you keep changing processing recipes. And for instance, this iron processing recipe would mean that I get less stone byproduct than I did before from the same amount of iron plate being created. So yeah, that's why I've mentioned last time, stone is always going to be something of a challenge inside of this pack. At least until I make like a massive amount on a train network, and then it just kind of becomes yeah, a non-problem at that point. All right, so we'll add a little bit more stone voiding here. All right, and this is where I'm going to cast molten iron into iron plates. I'm also going to take this opportunity to rejigger some of the nasty belt shenanigans that I've got going on here that was part of my original iron processing build, but is no longer necessary, especially since I have so many fewer jaw crushers operating here. So yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup work there. First, though, I need to set up a caravan to bring in borax. I also, down to the iron processing build, I also need to bring in borax and sand casts here. That plus the molten iron and hot air. That's what gives you your iron plates. Nice that they have these things dropping straight onto a belt. What's not nice is that these can make 18.7 plates per second, so you have to get 2 blue belts before you can actually take advantage of all of that output speed, or like do things with extra inserters or whatever. But still, yeah, I'm gonna work on setting this up and be back soon. Yeah, I really enjoy the times when I get to do a cleanup task. It's kind of an odd aspect of Factorio that you love that chance to reset and reorder things, even if it's still a little bit spaghetti at the end of the day. All right, this is cleaned up. This area is looking much nicer, a little less dense with belts, and got rid of a whole caravan outpost that wasn't needed. Not making molten iron yet because I'm still having power troubles, or my power isn't over the limit. The geothermal plant's storage is a little bit low. I'm going to look at a combinator solution over here, remove this belt latch, and make sure that the power is set up so that um, I do actually um, monitor correctly when my power is low. So I'm going to make a couple of small tweaks here and then be right back. Another thing I want to do to make sure that I can actually use this setup until I get Orlesias going full stream is to make this hydrogen line bidirectional so I can void some of the excess hydrogen that I'll now be making. So that'll be a quick fix. And then I'm going to go back to cleaning up my old iron processing area, and the actual task that I had for this episode will be done. When I make a pipe bidirectional, usually when I'm setting, I still have an idea of which direction it should flow. It's more like a river that can occasionally back up. So I set up one of these as a top up and then the other one as an overflow. And I always set the top up to be lower because I don't want the pumps to be both operating at the same time, pumping back and forth. That just seems wasteful to me. So that's how I do this bidirectional piping. Oh, I'm gonna set up one of these here and then find out where else on the this line I've got more pumps. All right. I think I might set up something to make to have a little bit more hydrogen voiding. Like right now, there's only this one oil burner that's doing it, and I think it's running constantly. So I'll set up another oil burner or two to do hydrogen voiding and be right back. Also, my cotton guts going fantastic. I might, if the episode has enough time, might go ahead and set up some of these cotton guts. Otherwise, add another chest for them. Okay, now that's done. I have extra oil burners to void hydrogen with. Let's see if I've delivered the borax successfully and this is running at all. Delivered the borax, but this is not running yet. Well, it just got there, so that is yeah, I made almost no oxygen because I guess I'm still low on power. Okay. Well, I will be making some power, extra power whenever the running low. I guess all of the things I've got turned on is causing problems. You can see there's quite a lot of stuff that I can clean up here in the iron processing area, so I'm going to get to work on that. Yet another fun cleanup task for me. Maybe not as much fun for you guys, but yeah, I enjoy it. All right, and that is looking better to me. Let's see if we've got any molten iron sitting in here. Yes, we do. So I just need to set up a borax and sand casting grabbing caravan, and that should have everything finished, at least for this task. Yeah, I want to make sure that that finishes up, but I'm feeling good about this task. Let's look at how the mall is doing. Not the greatest. Very few caravans have delivered their goods. Some have. Let's see how my demand line is looking. Still a lot of things that need to be built, but fewer than the total that's in the combinator. So some stuff has been built. That is great. I do have one idea in mind since I just got the tech. Let me see if I can produce the building that I actually want to produce, and I'll come back to you with that that cliffhanger that you'll have to wait a few seconds to figure out what I mean. What I was thinking of doing, if I had mechanical parts being built, this is something that we haven't built yet, and is actually one of the most complicated things and expensive things we can build, but it unlocks a lot of the buildings that are coming later, like biomass power plants, which I don't have the tech for, but will soon. It takes brakes, control panels, gearboxes, shafts, utility boxes. All of these are well, I've already made the gearboxes before, so I've got a big stash of those. Control boxes and utility boxes are other things that are being made in the mall. Like here's the utility box, control panel. So I've made a few of these, but yeah, I can make more of them. This is ready to go. The thing that I haven't made are the utility boxes, which are over here. I'm having a caravan coming in to deliver those, although yeah, it looks like I don't even have simple circuits yet for it, because my simple circuit, yeah, there's a logjam of simple circuits waiting to come in. What am I doing on time? Yeah, I've got 15 minutes to burn, so I'm going to try and like force the issue by putting in the materials, because there's a building that I really want, but it takes mechanical parts to create it. So yeah, give me a second. All right, and this is cooking utility boxes for me. So now I just need to make sure I put in the request for mechanical parts and then find myself some tasks to do while I wait for them to finish. Okay, let's look at my task list. I can fix this refined concrete. This is just a fuel issue, and I want to switch them over to wood fuel anyway, so I don't have to deal with their ash. All right, my first one is getting made over here, or first two. I guess this makes 3 at a time. Fantastic. This will be done real quick then. So I don't have to actually delay that long. Okay. Next item that I wanted to take care of. Let's look at my task list. Fix the refined concrete, switched iron oxide. That's not really a task. I just need to speed up an iron oxide inserter. Fix the malt combinator. I fixed the fish chests a while ago. Let's do this one real quick. I need to add more naphthalene to creosote production. Yeah, because I had a little bit too much, or at the time at least when I looked at it, had too much naphthalene creation, or too little naphthalene to creosote creation. I'll do that, and yeah, come back and grab my mechanical parts. Actually, there's one more task in my list that I want to do, so I will take my train. Okay, and that task is done. Last thing I want to do before I finish up my tasking stuff is go out here. Just like I'd done before with this native flora patch, I need to make a few adjustments. I'm losing native flora collectors. Looks like I did not bring enough tin to this system to make the control panels that I needed, and possibly some other like machine that needed the machine parts pulled them in before I could get any. So yeah, I do not have the ones I want, which is a shame. I'm going to have to go grab some more, feed it more materials, then find another task to do. Oh, I did this one. I adjusted my flora collectors. I made the hydrogen bidirectional. Yellow inserters, automation area stone collection. I did that. That was just upgrading these so that I could absorb the 2 belts coming in here, or less than 2 belts, but close to. So the last thing I've got that I can work on before I can stop stalling is to replace the zinc miners with Mark II and hook the zinc system back up. Because, yeah, I've been chewing through these chests, and it's going to take a long time to do it, but eventually I will need zinc. So I might as well go ahead and make some Mark II zinc miners to consume that zinc patch eventually when I've got over here. Yeah, I'll replace at least some of these with Mark IIs and get this going again. All right, I've set it up so that if I start running dry on zinc, I'll be able to supplement, but hopefully I've got some more mechanical parts. I did actually create a couple of buildings and grabbed a few while I was busy rebuilding a few fluid mining drills. So let's see if this is finished off, and then I'll go work on this final item. The last thing I'm going to do is use a recipe that kinda sucks. And I'll show you why in just a second after I set it up. But it's also kind of fun because outside of these really crazy high multiplier runs, you'd probably never even consider touching this recipe. But in this case, I am, as long as I can find a space to put it in. So this is going to be our second bad recipe of the episode. In this case, I'm doing this recipe because I know I'm going to need these buildings in the future, so might as well make them now and put them to a use. And they took a while to make, but actually putting them down is pretty quick. The reason this recipe is horrible is not on the face of it. On the face of it, you're getting 200 steam, you put it in, and you get 340 back. It's lower temperature, but we only need low temperature steam here. But it takes 20 seconds, and the building is expensive, and normally it would be easier and better just to add more power generation. But I figured this is kind of a stopgap, and I might as well do it, and soon I will reuse these buildings for a better purpose. So they can sit here for right now and make me some extra power, or save me some extra power, I suppose. Anyway, I'm going to hook up some water to this, and then be right back. All right, and this is working now. Yeah, I really wouldn't recommend using this recipe, but one of the nice parts about this high multiplier challenge is that you get to play with recipes, even if they're not the best. You get to try them out and use them because you have so much more time to think about things and review the recipes, etc. There we go. I'm just going to make sure that even if this is not sufficient, I can top up from the hotter steam line. Okay, so let's see. What else do I need to do? I'm going to build a couple of extra steam engines just so that this extra steam that I'm making has a use. So I'll put it in for here. And yeah, get back to you again. that'll give us the capacity to use up this extra steam that now I have at my leisure. This is not good. Are you, this guy is supposed to be picking up glass from here. Hold on, I'm going to fix this. I saw this before and forgot to add it to my task list, so I'm fixing it now. All right. That is acceptable. I think I'm mostly done now. I think my mall still has a couple of kinks to work out, but mostly I need more duralumin to get more intermetallics going. So I'm going to cut this off here and then hope that by the time I get back, at least some of my caravans have filled up. So yeah, let's go into hands-off mode. Yeah, next time I'll be implementing this aluminum processing recipe, which will help out a lot. Probably adding more duralumin production, although I didn't leave myself much room until my combinators down here, but I can at least fit a couple more. And yeah, that'll help out a lot in terms of turning out more intermetallics, which are running right now, but I can see that the vitrolloy is not going to keep up. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the episode.